Welcome to Stacktastic, the weekly web show for the avid comic book reader and those who aspire to become so. Now, last week it was announced that Disney had not only signed Joss Whedon to write and direct the Avengers 2, but also to help develop a Marvel Universe television show. Sounds awesome, right? But with Nolan sticking around to guide Man of Steel and possibly more, one has to wonder if Marvel and DC are becoming Whedon and Nolan comics. This creative control might be a great idea for the studio's bottom line and probably even fans over the next 5 years or so. But is it an ideal move for the comic book properties long term? That's what we're going to discuss today, along with my weekly recommendations of what to pick up or download this week. Let's get started. I loved the Avengers, I loved The Dark Knight, and I kinda loved The Dark Knight Rises. There is no doubt that both Joss Whedon and Christopher Nolan are not only talented writer-directors, but have also evolved the superhero movie genre to a place where it's taken seriously across the board, from winning over mainstream audiences to earning their respective studios over $1 billion at the box office. And despite instigating a flame war between the most intense fanboys who insist there can be only one, overall they've put the term fanboys in a more positive light, or at least the comics we love so dearly. So what's with my negativity? Well, as we all know, with great power comes great responsibility, and I think it's pretty clear that both Whedon and Nolan feel their responsibility is to their own unique creative visions and not to the Marvel and DC universes. With Nolan, he's already exhibited this with The Dark Knight Rises. Nolan was so successful with his vision of the Dark Knight that I took that emotional journey with Bruce Wayne, accepting his retirement and wishes to pass the baton to Joseph Gordon-Levitt. And I know that a lot of people feel the same way. The demands for a Nightwing movie can be heard loud and clear across the internet, so much so that I'm not sure how fans would react to a reboot debuting yet another actor in the Batsuit, asking us to file away Nolan's trilogy as a pleasant memory. So kudos to Nolan for achieving the impossible, getting fans to transfer their love for Batman to Nightwing. But just because he could do it, should he? Warner Brothers needs to make a Justice League movie, yet how can they do that when fans want to keep Nolan's trilogy as canon? Are they going to put Nightwing in the Justice League? I'd be okay with that, I guess, as I'd prefer that to someone else wearing the cowl, but Warner Brothers and DC Comics allowing Nolan to back them into a corner where they can't ostensibly make another Batman movie for 10 years or so seems like really bad business to me. As for Whedon, I think he's made all the right moves so far, but I think Marvel's decision to expand their universe to the small screen is a huge mistake. And Whedon shouldn't let his own love for television, it's where he got his start, keep him from realizing that. Why is television such a bad idea? Because once you get your audience comfortable experiencing the Marvel Universe at home, they might become reluctant to pay top dollar to head back to the theater. It happens to television actors all the time, and it's the main reason fan favorite Nathan Fillion can't get any work in the Marvel Universe. And that brings up another question. Whedon might see fit to finally hire Fillion, or other members of his troupe of television actors, which might please fanboys but would give the Marvel movies a cheap feel to mainstream moviegoers. Let's not forget how I Met Your Mother actress Kobe Smulders was the weakest link in the Avengers. So who do I think should guide these comic book cinematic universes? Producers, much like editors guide comic book universes. Kevin Feige has been the real star of Marvel Studios, and Warner Brothers and DC's real problem is that they have yet to find their own equivalent. Now, there are still plenty of strong and unique creative voices in comic books. One is Michael Avon Oeming, longtime Powers artist who's launching his very own comic this week from Dark Horse. In The Victories, Oeming channels his own therapy sessions into what he promises is a superhero book like no other. Another strong voice is artist-turned-writer J.H. Williams, some might even argue too strong, who returns to drawing the pages of Batwoman once again this week. And since it was his ability to turn a two-page spread into a work of modern art that got Batwoman noticed in the first place, I think that warrants his flagging title a second look. Now, if only someone would have the guts to tell Williams he can't write. Someone who can write? Brian Azzarello, and he's teaming up once again with Lee Bermejo for Before Watchmen Rorschach. You know I keep telling you to read that Joker trade? Same creative team. And a number of you have been asking me to mention Doctor Who this week is the star of a snazzy trade from IDW. This oversized treasury collects Dave Watchman Gibbons' classic run on the comic, starring the fourth Doctor, Tom Baker. Another strong voice that the comic book industry is lucky to have back in the fold is Brian K. Vaughan, and his new creator-owned series Saga continues. You know, the one that sells on the level of a comic from the big two. And that's this week's Stacktastic. I'm Grace Randolph for Think About the Ink, and I hope to see you back on Friday for Between the Pages. Until then, happy reading.